Yo, what's good, guys? Sinumatic back with the story of my life part 2. This gameplay, before I get into it, is 34-8 domination on underground, and I'm playing with some of my boys that I met online. Actually, my homie Ford, you should go check him out. He's at Dig Your Grave on there. He goes 44-8. But alright, so when I left off, I was basically talking about, growing up with my grandparents and all the crazy stuff that I was going through. Somewhat, but some other things I wanted to touch on with that. So, why I lived with my grandparents, really hated being there. So at the age of 12, I started tasseling corn every summer from the ages of 12 to 15, and pretty fucked up job if you've never done it. Hot as hell outside a lot of times. Your hands get blistered from pulling up corn tassels all day, but it got me a little bit of money. Got a bank account, put some money in there. Had to give half of the damn money to my grandparents. They took half my money, but I did manage to save part of the other half, and all that good stuff, and bought me a few things or whatever. And I say around the age of 15, well, actually, back up a second. At 16, the day I turned 16, I went to Dairy Queen on my birthday and put in an application to get a job there because it was like right down the street. Didn't really want to work there, but it was close as hell. I could get there, work there for... I actually worked there for a year. It's kind of crazy because, okay, about 3 months after I started working there, my grandpa, got pissed off and started trying to beat me up, and I got pissed off, and I kind of just grabbed a duffel bag. I already had a duffel bag with like clothes and stuff in it because I knew that there was gonna be a time when I had to leave that fucking place. So I grabbed my duffel bag, ran out the back door, and basically lived kind of like a homeless person for almost a whole year. So I was I think a month before my 17th birthday or something like that. But what had happened is I ended up staying with friends and stuff. I stayed with my mother for like 2 days, and then when I left the house, the cops came there, so I didn't ever stay there anymore. I see my mother a lot though during that time, but couldn't really go to her house and stay at her house because I was always scared, the cops were gonna come get me, take me back to my grandparents. It was a crazy year. I ended up quitting my job after a little bit of time just because my grandparents were coming up there looking for me. Now they didn't know when I worked, so luckily they never caught me at work and tried to come and get me. But anyway, so I spent like I said, almost a whole year staying at friends' houses and stuff. One of my good friends at the time, his mom was always gone almost, and it was kind of fucked up because she'd be gone like almost all day and all night, and then at like 3:30 in the morning she would show up at the house. And I would have to, they lived in an apartment building, and they had a shed. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. A little bitty garage connected to the, on the balcony of the house. It was a second floor house. So right around 3 in the morning every night, I had to go out there and pretty much sleep out there. Even during, part of this was during, winter time, snow on the ground, all that kind of shit. So, But what happened was, me and 2 of my buddies was out. It was stupid. We were out at about 4 in the morning. And he had this old beat up ass raggedy truck, and he basically he got a flat tire at like 4 in the morning. We had no money. We didn't know what to do, so he had the tools for to change the tire and all that kind of stuff in the truck. And we was acting like dummies, because we didn't know what else to do. We was all the way across town from where we lived at. It took us like 3 hours to walk home. So we're scouring through the neighborhood, and we find a van, one of them big ass custom vans that had the same size tire as his truck, basically. And we proceed to try to climb under it and take the spare tire so we can get back home, which I know is wrong. Something we shouldn't have done, but when you don't feel like you have any other options, sometimes you do silly shit. But basically, someone called the cops, and we got the tire off, got back to the truck, and the cops came, and we tried to run. And we didn't get away. I think Like, one person almost got away. And the funny thing is about that story is, you know, the cops came, you know, they caught 2 or 3 of us. They asked us, you know, where are the other guys? And we didn't know. Because everybody just, like, kind of fled the area. Like, we all ran different directions. And the funny thing about that story is one of the guys actually says that I told the cops where he went. Okay, I told them you went some complete opposite direction than me and got you in trouble. Actually, what it was, they had dogs. The dogs basically, you know, they used the dog to chase the guy down. But I don't know. I seen that guy some years later, and he still was like, yo, why'd you tell on me? I'm like, dude, like, we're grown-ass men now. I did not tell on you. I didn't even know where the fuck you went. But, you know, even if I would've, you know, that's some shit that happened like 10 years ago, but I don't know. Anyways, after that, when the cops picked us up, they took me home to my grandparents, or had my grandparents come get me, basically. And I was like, oh god, I'm fucking stuck back there. But they told me I had to go to court for trying to steal the tire. And basically when I went to the juvenile court, they were like, well, you know, we're gonna have to probably lock you up for a little while in this. It's called the Youth Care Center. It's not boys' school, but it's kind of like that. And they were like, you know, we feel like we have to punish you some way. Which, it's funny. It's actually really funny to me because that actually helped me out a lot. Because I was in there for like 4 months. It was kind of cool because, you know, I don't know. It was a different environment. You know, 3 meals a day. Read the Bible, kind of just hang out. I mean, they had pool tables, you had TV, you had shit like that. The only thing bad about it was you couldn't leave, and at the time, you know, you couldn't go outside, and you basically were on a schedule. Like, you could watch TV till a certain time, then you were supposed to go to bed. All in all, it wasn't really that bad because, you know, living with my grandparents, I didn't get to do shit unless I went to my mother's, and, you know, actually it took me out to, like, basketball games and, you know, different little field trips and shit. So it actually was kind of cool for me, like, to get away from my grandparents and get to do all kinds of other shit. And actually I had to see counselors and a probation officer while I was in there. And, you know, they asked me, you know, why I did all this silly stuff, like ran away from home for so long and, you know, was trying to steal the tire, blah blah blah. And luckily, you know, I was at the point where I didn't care, so I kind of, you know, told them, you know, all the stuff that my grandparents had done to me over the years, that I just couldn't stand it. And kind of, it wasn't just a rebellion thing. It was more, you know, I was tired of being abused and shit like that. Which actually, if I wouldn't have did that, I would probably have been stuck back at my grandparents' house for another year or two. But luckily, by doing that, it actually helped me out a lot. And we're not even going to go into that right now because I don't have enough time to tell you exactly what happened after that point. So let me go back into when I was living with my grandparents real quick. I might have lost track and I already said this, but the only time I seen it was my grandparents were my father's mom and dad, not my mother's. And the only time I seen this bastard for the 15 years, almost, like, you know, 16 years that I lived, well, not 16 years because I moved there when I was 5, but 10 or 11 years that I lived with my grandparents, I did see my dad, and most of the time it was for 10-15 minutes for him to come to his parents' house, and this was a grown-ass man, and ask for money to pay his electric bills, his light bills, and go buy weed, get drunk, whatever you needed the money for. And, you know, I don't even hold a grudge against the guy right now, you know, because I got over it, but it's really fucked up. I don't know if any of you guys got a father like that, but, you know, don't hold grudges against them. Just, what I tend to do is, I don't really hold a grudge against him, but I could care less whether I ever see him again. He's still alive. He still lives in the same city as me, and I've seen him about 3 times in the last 10 years now. But I'll cover some more in the next one. I'm out. Peace.